This evening, first up, a teenage boy dies at a lake. Injuries that don't add up, and now a young welder is charged with a manslaughter. Tonight, new developments in the death of 15-year-old Aarif Azeez, and the family still demanding the full truth. Then 7 guns and 38 rounds of ammunition vanished from inside the police station. A sergeant is behind bars, and investigation is underway. And tonight, Guyana wants to know how weapons disappear from a police arm room. Plus, the Mobil gas station bombing that killed 6-year-old Soraya Bourne is back in the court. The main accused says he acted alone, but the magistrate is clear that only the DPP decides who walks free. Meanwhile, more than 2,000 Guyanese move closer to owning their land. The housing minister says agreements of sales are being signed across the country, with titles expected to be handed out at the upcoming Building Expo. And Donald Trump says U.S. forces have seized an Iranian cargo ship trying to break through the naval blockade near the Strait of Hormuz. Tonight, a dramatic escalation on the high seas that the whole world is watching. Those stories and more coming up. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for April 20th, 2026. I'm Baby Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, a day of recreation turned tragic on the Essequibo coast as a teenage boy's death has now led to a manslaughter charge against a young welder, raising troubling questions about what really happened. Shamar Smith, a 23-year-old welder, has been charged with manslaughter in connection with the death of a teenage boy at the Essequibo coast, as questions continue to surround the circumstances of the incident. Smith, also known as Short Man, appeared before the Regina Magistrate's Court on Friday, where the charge was read in connection to the death of 15-year-old Aarif Azeez. He was not required to plead and was granted bail in the sum of $750,000. The matter has been adjourned to April 30th. The charge stemmed from an incident on April 6th at the Hot and Cold Lake under naming, where Azeez reportedly fell from a jet ski during a recreational outing and went missing. His body was recovered the following day. A post-mortem examination confirmed that the teen died from drowning, compounded by multiple injuries, including head trauma and a broken foot, raising concerns among relatives about the circumstances of his death. The case remains under active investigation, with authorities expected to present further evidence as the matter returns to court, while the victim's family continue to seek answers surrounding the circumstances of his death. Staying with current events, a major security breach has rocked the Guyana police force after 7 firearms and ammunition went missing from a police station, with 1 officer now in custody. Dale Jarvis has the details on the probe.
A major security breach has triggered an internal investigation after multiple firearms and ammunition were discovered missing from a police station on the east coast of Demerara. The Guyana police force confirmed that 7 firearms, 4 9mm pistols, and 3.32 pistols along with 68 rounds of ammunition were discovered to be missing from the Cove and John police station during routine checks and an audit of the arms room. The matter has since taken over by the Office of Professional Responsibility, which has launched a full investigation. Authorities say several statements have already been recorded and key records examined as efforts intensified to determine how the weapons went missing. A sergeant attached to the station has been arrested and remains in custody as part of the ongoing probe. Police have assured the public that the incident is being treated with the utmost seriousness and that all necessary measures are being taken to recover the missing weapons and ensure accountability. 7 firearms are missing, a police officer is behind bars, and some unsettling questions linger. How does a weapon disappear from inside a police station, and are there more answers yet to surface? Reporting for Headline News Update, Dale Jarvis.
Thanks, Dale. A devastating act of terror that killed a 6-year-old girl is back before the courts as legal proceedings continue to unravel one of the country's most high-profile criminal cases. The Mobil gas station bombing case, which claimed the life of Soraya Bourne during the October 26, 2025 explosion at Regent and King Streets, has been adjourned to May 20th for a report as the prosecution process advances. Acting Chief Magistrate Faith McGusty made the decision when the matter was called at the Georgetown Magistrate's Court. The main accused, Venezuelan national Daniel Alexander Ramirez Pedimo, has repeatedly told the court that he alone was responsible for the attack and has urged that his co-accused be freed. However, the magistrate made it clear that his admission does not automatically clear the other defendants, stressing that the Director of Public Prosecutions must assess the evidence before any decisions are made regarding their involvement. Pedimo's attorney requested additional time to prepare a written proposal for the prosecution, citing translation needs, a request that was not opposed by the state. 7 persons remain before the court in connection with the bombing, while investigations and legal reviews continues into the roles of each accused in the deadly attack. Stick around when we return. Over 2,000 housing titles advancing as government accelerates home ownership drive across Guyana. And massive cannabis bust. Over $250 million in drugs destroyed in river operation.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. More than 2,000 prospective homeowners across Guyana are a step closer to securing legal ownership of their land as the government accelerates the processing of housing titles and agreements of sale nationwide. Minister of Housing Colin Crowell provided the update on Thursday, noting that over the past 3 months, more than 2,000 agreements of sales has been signed across 7 housing areas.
Over the last 3 months, the staff has been working beyond the call of duty, working even on Saturdays in many cases, over 7 areas for which we have signed over 2,000 agreement of sale as well as the certificate title to process. That means, therefore, that we are working also to, as quickly as possible, to have the titles be made available. And so, for example, we have said that by the Building Expo, International Building Expo 2026, during that period of June 25th to 28th, we will have the schedule published, but we are expecting to be able to distribute many of these titles that you have signed up for.
The minister indicated that a significant number of these titles are expected to be distributed during the upcoming International Building Expo.
In Berbice, for number 75 and number 76 villages, those we will have a special exercise for the distribution of the titles and subsequently be able to pick them up at the regional office. We'll have a special exercise in Berbice, but the areas that I just called of Luzignan, Phase 1 and 2, Good Hope, Breezeland, Laurentino, Katrina, as well as to come. So I did say about 2,000. So we have 2 more areas that we'll be signing within the next month, and these include Lenora West as well as Dickenjon West. We are expecting to be able to have the Lenora West be available in time for International Building Expo for the titles to be available.
The update was given during the handing over ceremony of allottees of Plantation Laurentia Catarina on the west bank of the Marara, where residents formally received their agreements of sale. The initiative forms part of the government's wider housing program aimed at expanding home ownership opportunities and improving land security for citizens. Officials say the ongoing drive is a key step towards transforming beneficiaries into full landowners. Moving on, police have dismantled a massive illegal cannabis operation in the Upper Berbice River, destroying crops worth over $250 million in one of the country's largest drug busts. Bill Jarvis has more.
Deep in the heart of Guyana's interior, hidden among 7 acres of remote riverine terrain, a sprawling illegal cannabis operation worth more than $250 million has been dismantled and reduced to ash by ranks of the Guyana police force. In one of the largest drug eradication operations in recent memory, police ranks led by a gazetted officer conducted a sweeping joint exercise at Kimba, Upper Berbice River on Friday, April 17th, spanning nearly 15 hours from early morning to late evening. Investigators discovered an estimated 310,000 cannabis plants ranging from 2 to 6 feet in height. During the operation, officers also found 2 makeshift camps and drying areas containing about 380 pounds of dried cannabis. All plants, processed cannabis, and structures were destroyed by fire on site. Authorities estimate the total value of the narcotics at more than $258 million. No arrests were made and the exercise was completed without incident. Police say investigations are ongoing as efforts continue to dismantle illegal drug operations in remote areas of the country. Reporting for Headline News Update, Dale Jarvis.
Thanks, Dale. Thousands of households and businesses in Guyana's mining heartland are set for a major upgrade in electricity reliability as the government takes a significant step towards modernizing the region's power infrastructure. The Ghana Power and Light and the Linden Electricity Company Incorporated have signed a memorandum of understanding that will see 50 megawatts of clean energy injected into the Linden power grid, a move expected to benefit more than 14,000 households across Mackenzie, Wisma Shores, and surrounding commercial districts. The agreement forms part of the government's broader strategy to modernize energy systems, reduce capacity constraints, and support economic growth in hinterland and mining communities that have long grappled with power reliability challenges. LECI General Manager Avery Trim highlighted that the improved energy capacity will also play a critical role in supporting the government's ambitious housing drive in Region 10.
It's in excess of 14,000 persons. It's a split between the Mackenzie Shore, the government housing drive. They propose to have another 1,200 persons in the Bongsland area that is located in the Millies Ward in the near future. Currently, they are running all the line hardware to facilitate that process.
Currently, the Linden Power Company relies heavily on aging generation facilities that have struggled to keep pace with growing demand. The new clean energy injection is expected to ease pressure on existing infrastructure while improving efficiency and service delivery across the region. For the residents of Linden, the lights are not just staying on, they are getting bright. Don't go away after the break. Louisiana man kills 7 of his children, another child in mass shooting. And UK Prime Minister Starmer faces scrutiny over Mandelson's failed security vetting.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Dominic Gittins tonight. Caribbean leaders renew calls for reparation as backlash grows in the UK. The US sees an Iranian-linked vessel amid rising tensions in the Gulf. A mass shooting in Louisiana leaves children dead, and Keir Starmer faces scrutiny over security clearance controversy. We will begin in the Caribbean. Caribbean reparation advocates are renewing calls for justice after the United Nations declared its transatlantic slave trade among history's gravest crimes. The push comes amid backlash from Nigel Farage, whose party has proposed visa restrictions on countries seeking reparations from the United Kingdom. Regional leaders and campaigners have condemned the proposal, saying it undermines efforts to address the lasting impacts of slavery. US President Donald Trump has said United States forces have seized an Iranian flag cargo ship that tried to get past his country's naval blockade near the Strait of Hormuz. Al Jazeera's Rosalind Jordan reports.
Motor Vessel Tosca, vacate your engine room.
Tensions worsening in the Strait of Hormuz on Sunday. U.S. President Donald Trump announced on social media the U.S. Navy bombed and then seized the Iranian cargo ship Tosca as it tried to evade the American blockade. The U.S.'s first detention of an Iranian vessel happened as Trump's hand-picked negotiators flew back to Pakistan for a new round of talks to end the war, now in its 8th week. Earlier on Sunday, Trump urged Iran to make a deal, otherwise once again threatening to, quote, knock out every single power plant and every single bridge in Iran, something his ambassador to the UN argues is not a war crime under international law.
We have a long history of taking down bridges, power plants, and other infrastructure that is powering Iran's military.
But with the U.S. military's seizure of the Tosca, the risk of renewed fighting is rising, along with the possibility of stalled progress in Islamabad. Rosalind Jordan, Al Jazeera, Washington.
A gunman in the southern U.S. state of Louisiana killed 8 children, including 7 of his own, and shot 2 other people before being killed by police, authorities have said. The mass shooting is the worst the U.S. have seen in more than 2 years. Al Jazeera's Dmitry Medvedenko reports.
Residents of Shreveport, Louisiana say they're stunned and devastated by a violent mass shooting that woke them up early on Sunday. The police say Shamar Elkins shot the mother of his children, wounding her, and then drove to the house where his children lived and went on a shooting spree. He killed 7 of his own children, another child, and wounded another woman. The youngest child was only 18 months old. Media reports say Elkins and his partner were going through a bad breakup.
This is entirely a domestic incident. So the suspect shot the mother of the children first, then responded to this location and shot 8 children, 7 of which being his own. There was an additional child at this residence that was not akin to him. However, we're still working on relationships and whose parents are whose, but it's a very hectic scene. There's a lot to investigate, a lot to unpack, and we want to do the best we can to come up with a clear timeline, a clear reasoning, even though cases like this, the reasoning will never be fully understood.
Police said some of the children were trying to flee through the side door, now riddled with bullet holes. Elkins then hijacked a car at gunpoint and drove off, but was chased and killed after a police pursuit. The city's mayor said nothing like this has ever happened here.
I think the community is in the process of gathering together. You see lots of people on the street here that are gathering for prayer and mutual support, and that's what communities need to do in this circumstance.
This is the worst mass shooting the U.S. has seen since January 2024. Last year alone, the country saw more than 400 mass shootings where at least 4 people were killed or injured in every event. Dmitry Medvedenko, Al Jazeera.
Keir Starmer faces scrutiny over the failed security clearance of his former envoy to the US, Pete Mendelsohn, and over when he knew about it. Al Jazeera's Sonia Gallagher reports.
It's a political controversy that refuses to go away, and questions are swirling about the UK Prime Minister renewing concerns about his judgment. When did Keir Starmer find out Peter Mandelson had failed the government's vetting process, and what did he do about it? The revelation that his US ambassador did not obtain security clearance, but was approved anyway, comes against the backdrop of growing tension with the Trump administration over the Iran war. The Prime Minister says he's shocked and furious.
that I wasn't told that Peter Mandelson had failed security vetting when he's appointed is staggering.
Just 7 months ago, when Starmer dismissed Mandelson, he told MPs that full due process was followed in his appointment to the senior diplomatic post.
As it is with all ambassadors.
Despite public knowledge of his association with convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein and questions about his business links with China and Russia. Opposition politicians accuse Starmer of misleading Parliament. It's a blow to the Prime Minister, who promised to clean up UK politics. What seemed a logical choice for his representative in Washington, a Labour Party power broker, turned out to be a poisoned chalice. Even the success of last year's deal to reduce US tariffs faded in the face of Mandelson's biggest liability. In February, the depth of his friendship with a convicted sex offender was revealed in the so-called Epstein files, leading Starmer to apologise, but it may not be enough. The saga has already claimed the jobs of several senior government officials, including Starmer's chief of staff, himself a Mandelson protege, and a senior civil servant in the Foreign Office, Ollie Robbins. He was aware of the vetting issue early last year, when security officials advised against giving Mandelson the highest clearance. Starmer's approval ratings, already sliding in recent months, have plunged on this scandal. And with local elections set to take place in the UK on May the 7th, polls suggest the results could be punishing for Labour and its leader. The political danger for Keir Starmer is clear. If he did know about the issues with vetting, then his credibility is in trouble. And if he didn't, well, that casts doubt over his own authority and control over his government. Sonia Gallego, Al Jazeera, London.
Thanks, Dominique. This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-minute forecast. And that's it to read you headline news for this Monday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.